is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Talking Movies. This your boy Sean, aka Puff Comics 83, and we are back talking the light at the edge of the world. And I am joined by my co-host, Varangian Vigilante. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. It's Friday. We're talking about a movie that I really love, that I think is very underrated. Hey, The Rodfather. And I think that's also like a movie that really deserves to have more eyes on it.
This was my first time watching this film, and I thought the premise was interesting. A desolated area where lighthouses is there, and it's actually the southern tip of South America.
Yeah, the foreign's like Isla del Fuego. My Spanish is not that great.
And this is during the time, I think it was like 1895. This is before the Panama Canal was created.
So ships had to go around.
Yeah, they had to go around underneath South America to get to the western side of America.
Well, who knows? So, maybe the US has to do this in the future again.
But it's like this movie actually had me researching the area and hearing how strong and powerful and dangerous that area was when it came to ships trying to go around it.
Yeah, and I think that's like also one of the biggest strengths of the movie is really this location. Like you rarely see movies that are set like it was not shot in Argentina. It was like I think it done in Spain, in Catalonia. And but it really it really shows in like on set location that really makes a movie special. Like it's something new, and also of course it's an adaptation of Jules Verne's novel that was posthumously released. Because Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Probably the science fiction writer, if not the creator of science fiction, and like the movie being, of course, the cast with Kirk Douglas and Yul Brynner, two like heavyweights, and like from the from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I totally understand why this movie didn't perform well at the box office. Like that, it really underperformed. Because this is a movie that is actually catered to me. Yeah, it's I don't because when you see horror movies, when you see other fantastic movies where brutality is shown, but it's within a fantastic context. But this movie, that with these sadistic pirates, I think that the violence shown here, because it's done by humans in such a sadistic way, that this is a little bit too heavy for mainstream audience, even in the 70s.
Well, I look at it as this movie and probably a few others really ushered in the 70s way of saying we need to show a bit more brutality, some gore. Like we didn't even see the beheading of the captain when they had the captain and his sidekick, murdered. But you saw the body, you saw the results.
Yeah, and also like what I think is even worse in that sense was that you saw the struggle for survival from Felipe, from the other guy there. That he tried to get away and they toyed with him, they played with him. So it's like, maybe you get away, but there was no chance of him getting away. So, the stakes and the sort of tension that was created by the director really was something else. And I have not read the novel yet. I still have to read it. But what I heard is that the novel actually is way more optimistic, and that the movie actually added a lot of the brutality, etc., to it. So which actually very often is the other way around. That movies are toning down the novels, while here yeah, whole, food.
That's the character of, what's the name again? Denton. Will Denton. I thought he came into this movie with the character with a whole sense of isolation, trying to escape the world. And we don't get to see his little flashback of why he's there. And then when you find out why he's there, like, you understand, like, he just wanted to get away from his problems. He lost the love of his life to another man, and then he acts. I wouldn't say accidentally. The man pulled the gun on him after a whole card game, and he defended himself by shooting him first. It's the old Wild West style of play. Like, draw first. You either get shot or you win. And she looked at it and she lost her husband, and that was the end of their relationship, even though he still had feelings for her. So in order to get away from all that, he took a job at the lighthouse.
Literally at the end of the world.
At the end of the world, the edge of the world.
Yeah.
And it's just a way for him to just be there and not have to deal with the consequences of what he did early in his life. Yeah, and this was during the time early on when there was the gold rush, which is why people was heading towards San Francisco and the western side of America, because that was the whole gold movement.
Yeah, like you said, also like in a pre-show, that watching this movie really also wants to make you like research more this time, because it is such an interesting time period, and it was like still a time period, where you could get away at some places of the world, or you think you could get away, but somehow people always find you, sadly, as we of course see then. What the movie also does fantastically, I think, is like in the beginning it really hooks you absolutely, like the wonderful soundtrack and the introduction of the character that are there. Of course, there's only 3 people for the lighthouse, and the ship leaves and they only get like the resources, I think, 7 months later. So it's already established, okay, those 3 are alone for 7 months and nobody will come to help in case something would happen. The initial dialogue between like the captain and Denton is it's so sympathetic, it's the chemistry is so well done. And then you of course have the young lad Felipe, who is playing like his Maultrommel, as we say in German, like this instrument. So I think you initially have like a lot of sympathy for the characters, and because they share good chemistry. And then the movie starts immediately with a ship coming that has a distress flag out, and the Captain Felipe going there, while Denton has to watch from afar as they immediately get slaughtered because they're pirates.
See, when it comes to the captain going there, I'm like, I think he should have waited to observe the ship more till it got closer, because Denton got full view of every person on that ship, and they all look fucking evil.
Let's just say I have seen pirates, Trumpet Seaman, and Conan comics that look more sympathetic than this bunch.
I mean, he panned the whole ship, and it was like they were all looking at him like, "Oh, we gonna fuck your shit."
Yeah, that's the thing. Personally, but I also think that they lure you by looking like that. They almost lure you like in this wrong sense of security, where you think like, oh, if they wanted to kill you, they would appear more charming and like. But like, since they show everything they got, like all the weapons, etc., you think actually, you know what? It's like maybe they look rough, but they seem not to try to pretend everything. I absolutely recommend this movie.
From what Denton was seeing, I'm like, I would not want to get on that ship at all, because these guys just look menacing.
Well, let's just say New York would take them in a heartbeat.
So I was like, after that, and then you see the captain and his sidekick go on the ship. I was like, damn, this does not feel good, man. And the next thing you know, they grabbed the captain, and I like that they cut away from the beheading, but again, like I said, like you still see the aftermath of it.
Yeah,
and it's like just the visual thought. Like we've watched movies with beheading so many times, but I just like still early in the 70s, they were hesitant on showing it, but it left it up to the viewer to like, oh my god,
exactly, and to immediately like start the movie with this, or like, and also like the novel, it's like this immediately is like fuck.
Yeah.
Hey Kenneth.
Yeah, so it's like, man, this shit went south real quick, and I love the desperation of Denton to run back to the house to get the guns, because earlier on, before the pirates showed up, he had a gun to shoot a so-called deer that Felipe said he saw. It was more like a goat or something.
Yeah, something,
But, you know, and when they saw it, he was able to get an accurate shot and kill it, because that was their meal. And then, you know, the captain called and he's noticed the pirates. So he put the gun back into the case, closed the door, locked it up,
locked it,
and then gave the key to the captain, and the captain put it somewhere. And I was like, damn, if he went downstairs and grabbed the key first, he would have had all the guns.
Hey,
Simon, what's up, man?
Yeah. So damn you gun regulations.
Yeah, because there was like three shotguns.
3 guns, yeah, and it would have come very handy. This is also what I really love about the beginning of the movie is when Denton sees like what happens, he immediately reacts the right way. You know, in a lot of horror movies, when you think, oh, why are these people so stupid? He's acting intelligent, like, and everything is very well explained why he can't get to the guns. And then he immediately says, okay, I can't get to the guns. I have to get like to the goat to have food, because immediately he knows like, well, nobody else is coming and I have to hide here somewhere on the island and I need food.
Yeah, and it's like I love that, you know, he's not overly panicking.
Yeah.
You know, he's assessing the situation and then using the environment to his advantage, which I think is the highlight of the movie, because in order to evade these pirates, you have to use your environment. And he found caves, you know, locations where he could hide out, and you know, there was areas where there was like eggs from nests. He would use the eggs to replenish himself. Yeah. You know, for the short time.
Yeah, and just when you think that you already know how sadistic those fucking pirates are, it's like, well, there's also a little pet monkey that Felipe had, and they killed the fucking monkey.
They flayed that monkey. Man.
Yeah, it's like it's really, you know.
They did just for y'all animal lovers out. They didn't show it on camera.
Yeah,
and they showed the after the effect of it.
Yeah, and they had like the most fun doing it. You know, it's really, you know, what I also love about this movie is the bad guys are really bad, and they're enjoying it. They're sadistic pieces of shit. And like you said in the pre-show, within those pieces of shit, there's even bigger pieces of sadistic shit in there.
But I will say that Congrey is a piece of shit, but he's the more sane piece of shit out of the entire crew. Because here's the thing. I'm looking at it from the standpoint. He's not crazy like the rest of them.
Yeah,
in terms of acting wild and savage.
He's methodical.
Yeah, he's methodical. He speaks eloquently, and he knows how to handle situations in terms of, you know, we're gonna plan this out. And they planned it out how they lured Denton out of his hidings.
Yes, very well.
They would not have done that if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
And that's why I say he's crazy, but he's the same one because he's the brains. Without him, they won't be able to.
He's the most dangerous kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like he has like this sophisticated allure but behind it there is just almost, like I say, almost, because we're going to talk about another scene later, like almost no positive human emotion in there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
your brother just played it so
Oh
good.
yes, and this movie would have been not as good if it would not have Kirk Douglas and Yul Brynner in it, because both are such actors with such a lot of gravitas, and they carry this movie because, of course, like the plot of the movie is very simple. When I think there's this side, movie tropes, etc. And it says, even though, of course, Die Hard came out way later, basically this movie is Die Hard on an island.
I, I wouldn't even call it that, because one thing about Die Hard is the hero got his weapons, so he's able
Yeah,
to fight back, whereas Denton has nothing. And
he has his
this
wits.
movie is all about trying to survive.
Yes, and
That's the main point, the main theme of it. Trying
and
to survive these
yeah,
crazy savages.
and the way he does it, like in so many different cases, it's so creative. And I also love that they're setting some things up. They immediately know, oh, that's gonna come later in, like in his refuge, the cave that has the hole in the beginning, and if you don't know that it's there, well,
Yeah.
down you go. But also later, when they try to salvage stuff from the ship that the pirates capsized, because of course they're taking over the lighthouse to lure ships into the rocks so they can get their cargo. And when they go like after the pirates, there to get some already, this happens like twice. Like first, there's also there's two survivors, then saves one, and like back, and they go them back to the ship, and the pirates come back, so they immediately have to improvise to hide from the pirates. So he plays like a corpse in the water. And this is like such a great tension, especially since like that one piece of shit pirate, like the biggest piece of shit, the number two to conquer, like even toys with him and kicks him under the water. And
like it would have been funny if he just kept his foot on him while he's under the water. And
yeah.
I was like, that would have blew everything up.
Yeah.
But I like the way they lured Denton out the first time, where they had the ship go around the island and didn't think maybe they left. And then he goes up to the lighthouse in the house, and then they pop up. They all appear. And it's like, oh shit. And then they start, messing around and beating him up. And then they take him inside where he get his introduction to Korgred.
Yeah.
And I will say that Korgred knew how to play around by having his servant serve him food. And any man's gonna try and eat because he's been out there for forever and he's starving.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, is this food poison? Is this, a setup and stuff? Like, you're already captured with all of them around you. So
is he eating the captain? Who knows? Like,
I know, all these thoughts are going in your mind, and it's like, I'm a dead. They're gonna kill me. And it's funny because the way Kilgore, it's like he set him up to get him there. It's like, what is his primary motivation towards them? And that's what I was trying to figure out, because he was kind of toying with Denton throughout the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
Where he just killed the captain and killed Felipe, but yet Denton he wanted to have a game with.
It really just seems that like I say, it's like driven by sadism and some playfulness, not in a good way. Like I say, like of course, like first, like let's have a manhunt.
But it just felt weird that instead of just killing Denton right there and just completely taking over, he's like, I want to have a game with you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get on my. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just also think this is like how Like this might be his kink. To like also that to make this psychological terror like against other people. You know, it's like why I'm still alive. Like why is he feeding me? Like what are his motives? While actually his only motive is like to fucking toy with you. And it's like Conqueror is such an interesting character. You know, of course, we also see the ship and the what is the English word? Galionsfigur, like the symbol in front of the ship, like is a unicorn. Then he has like this white horse that he ships on the island, and he also gives like a unicorn, like a mask, which is actually there's like a comic book adaptation of The Lighthouse.
Oh, really?
Which is like the whole story in a science fiction setting. Fantastic art by Brian Harberlin, and also the way they portray Congress there, like very, very close to the movie.
Nice.
Which is actually I totally recommend. It's like a how many 5 issue miniseries, and
show all the covers.
Like the aesthetics of the space pirates is so well done.
So this takes place in space?
Yeah, in space.
Wow. So they took the concept and flipped it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sequence where he uses the white horse, puts a unicorn on, and he chases Denton throughout the area.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's toying with him. He's like, this is my prey, and we're gonna hunt you down until you're dead. You know, it's scary. You know,
it is very scary.
Like you're more worried about the savages that he has by his side, because with Kogoro, I keep.
It's impossible to pronounce it. I think I pronounced it in 3 different ways already.
I know, but I feel like with his characters, like he's given Denton a chance, whereas the others would just flay him alive, like they did later on, which we will talk about when that death comes. But you know, Denton was able to evade that and stay in his hideout location and also try and survive. And that was his whole goal, was to try to survive. He was hoping that they would eventually leave and then he could retake the island. But then the first ship showed up.
Thanks, Rod.
Thanks, Rican. But then the first ship showed up, and we see that they set up their own little lighthouse to fool the ships into coming their way, and then they get
right into the rock.
Yeah, right into rock, because it was windy, it was stormy, so the ship got caught into the rocks, crashed, and everybody evaded. It was a bunch of people from I think the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
In the book, I think it's from the US, from Mobile.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they went to town on those people.
Oh yeah, the survivors that go to the beaches and they slaughtered them, raped them, and it's like every depraved human action that you can think of, they did, and like absolutely like no mercy. And there's like there's like 2 survivors. One because Denton saves him, Montefiore, yeah, and the other.
I told you that it made so much sense for him to save him, because he needed a companion after being there by himself for so long. He needed somebody to not only help, but to somebody to talk to. Elaborate with and survive with, because surviving on your own against all these crazies, it's like I need somebody that I can rely on.
Absolutely. And there's also a woman survivor that just survived because she looked a little bit fairer than the others, and And well, well, we're gonna see how that pans out later.
There is one key detail that we didn't mention, and that's Denton had a photo of him and his
Yeah.
girlfriend. That he still occasionally looked at, and he tried to like put it to the past, but he couldn't help but look at it. He had it in his pocket, and when he was captured early on and hung upside down, they were going back and forth on the lighthouse.
Before they killed poor Mario, the poor monkey.
Oh, poor Mario. The photo fell out and it fell into the hands of scumbag number 2. The second man in charge.
I think it was Virgilio. who was fantastically portrayed by Jean-Claude Truon, I think, like a French actor. And
he played scumbag to the T. Like, they all were scumbags. So he was
he's French.
He was number one with a bullet with how he acted, and I was like, oh, I hope Denton kills him. And when we get to that, I was a bit disappointed. But he picked up the photo, and that's how Kilgore got the photo. And I felt like the photo is what led to Kilgore's next plan. And
because it looks very similar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Arabella is the name of that woman, played by Samantha Eggar.
Yeah, a beautiful woman, of course, and you might think they would only add to the movie for like a romantic plot, but I think the plot is like never get a chance to be romantic, and it's more actually like it's more like a lesson that even hot women can't do everything that they want without any repercussions.
The first red flag on her was when they brought her to Kilgore, and she was asking for her clothes. She needed clothes, and then her aunt and stuff. When she needed clothes, and you're surrounded by these savages, that's a red flag, because clothes are irrelevant at this point around them. It's irrelevant. You're just thinking about how the hell am I going to survive this?
Yeah. She immediately, even though of course like all the crewmates are totally savages, she was totally fooled by thinking that Conqueror would be like at least a gentleman thief, not knowing of his true evil and that he gave a rat's ass about her. So and this shows like even later, when Montefiore and Danton go like into the camp and basically attack the people and like save another ship with taking over the lighthouse for a short time, and then Danton got like to Arabella, and he's giving you the chance to come with us.
But see, before that, he encountered her the first time when they trotted her out there with the umbrella and the expensive looking clothes.
Yeah.
And had her say the name. When they called her name, they called the name of the woman that he loved.
Yeah.
And he stopped dead in his tracks to look. And he was like, is that really her? Is that really her?
Yeah.
And I was like, don't fall for it then. Why don't?
Yeah.
It's not smart to think that that's her. When she,
it's like
it's like there's no way that she was on that ship.
This is not the MCU where everybody's around the corner. Like, no.
I was like, it's a trap. Like the Star Wars, it's a trap.
Yeah.
How would they know her name? And he didn't check to see that, hey, my photo's gone. Because the name was on the back of that photo. That's the only way they can yell out that name.
Yeah.
So that really irked me, because Denton started to become emotionally connected to her that he needed
Yeah.
to make sure
I
that
mean,
that was her.
I do have to say, like, I think it's still understandable, like, because being like for weeks and months like on this island, like having basically a guerrilla warfare against pirates, this might play trick on your mind. So I totally think that I totally think that his reaction is believable in general. Like I like how the movie sets everything up where you as the audience know, oh, this is why this is happening. Like I said with the photo, the name is in the back there. Okay, that's how they know their name. Like and
But
everything makes sense in this movie.
but they don't leave survivors. That's the thing. These guys kill everybody. But
Yeah.
yet this one chick can survive, and then they use her as a way to get them.
Yeah, and the first moment she was no more convenient. I'm gonna talk about it later. First, like that, then he gave her the chance to come with them, and her reaction, that, like, hey, at least here I have shelter and food. Like, do you want to come with me and be like
She
in a cave?
she was dead the moment she said that shit.
Yes, she.
When
Yeah.
when Denton encountered her the first time, he gave her a kiss and like, this is not her. And automatically the ruse was up, and
Yeah.
the whole cover was blown. And then when she said that, when she screamed help and he left, and then he came back and said, "You want to help?" And you're like, "No, I want to stay here. They got food and they got clothes." And he slapped her, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Bitch deserved it."
Yes, absolutely.
He came back to help you, and you
Risking
just like,
risking his fucking life.
you gonna
And
say,
then,
they
like,
got food and they got clothes
Yeah.
and they can, and when I say earlier on, when she said she was worried about her clothes and that she was a maid and all that stuff, it showed how entitled and spoiled she was as a character. And they gave her the spoils of having food, clothes, a bed, even though that was the place that Denton and them stayed in. But they gave her the illusion like, we can treat you like a queen.
Yeah, she really thought like that rules did not apply to her.
And when Kilgore came in there after what's the name left, he had a chance to shoot Denton right there and he missed it.
Yeah.
So when he went in there, he saw one of his men was dead and just her. He covered the man up. He sat at the table. He put the photo on the table. He pulled out his knife and he stabbed the picture with the woman on it.
Yeah.
And that should have told her she was through. She was done. She no longer meant anything to him. He went to lay on the bed and she thought she can go over there and try and smooth things over. He no-sold her.
Yeah.
And it's like, she should have just pulled that knife out of the table and slit her wrist and ended it right there. Because it would have at least been a better way to go out than what
she actually did later. Yeah.
She ain't thinking because she think, oh, they'll still treat me well.
Yeah, she still thinks like, hot woman, I can get away with things.
and that was my problem with this whole character. It's like, she meant nothing. She was a waste of time, a waste of character. She was just there to play with Denton's emotions. And then once she didn't mean anything to Kilgore no more, he fell into the savages.
I do have to agree there. Because initially I would have said, oh, but later it shows like how sadistic the pirates are, but we already seen how sadistic they are. So like it's like not even like later on the ship, when she's like protesting to the captain, he was just like, well, and he let like his whole crew like rape her. That is like nothing is shown there that has not been established earlier, when they killed and raped like the survivors. So this doesn't add like an initial layer of sadistic behavior to the pirate. So I have to agree that that the character is very redundant.
She
It
she didn't take into consideration of who she's dealing with. She didn't
yeah
know them, but you got to look at how these people act. The red flag for her should have been when what's his name was coming with the dress, acting the fool and being all dumb
yeah
and shit. Like I'm around a bunch of savage, crazed maniacs.
yes.
Yet
Like you
you
said,
still want to stay there?
she was totally fooled by Conker's swagger and thought that she is under his protection, not knowing that she actually just is a decoy.
That's it. She was being used. She
She
got
must be
played.
used. She got played, and she paid the worst possible price for it.
But I'll tell you who also suffered, and that's Monty Four.
Oh yeah,
Oh man, like
poor guy, because he absolutely like like he was smart, and he was a good guy. Poor guy.
but he drunk too much, and he set up a nice distraction, burning everything, for them all to go there.
Yeah.
Then he was so drunk and so angry that he threw the bottle towards the direction that all the guys were there when they started the fight. And they like, oh, we got it. And what they did to him on that shit, that is torturous brutality that nobody wants to suffer. And the way they showed it was, I read some comments, and they're like, that scene right there, like, they have to stop watching it because of how brutal it was.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that, that different perspectives you just see the scene from. And this is like really one of the scenes, I've never been like flayed and shit, luckily. But you see this and you feel burns on your skin. It's like, because this is like, when you rip like a little skin from your finger, this must be way worse.
Bro, it like you felt real bad for him, but again, it was his fault. He set himself up when he threw that bomb. He was so drunk and wasted that he gave up his position.
Mm.
As bad as I felt for him, he shouldn't have been so wasted. And another thing people was complaining about with that scene is how Denton, he had the rifle, from one of the men, and he was able to kill Monty Four from a long distance on the ship. And then people was like, "Well, why he ain't shoot the captain?"
Because in this moment, he just wanted the pain for his friend to end, and he.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. And I think this shows everything about Danton is that he chose compassion over revenge in that moment.
And of course, Arabella was still there, so he didn't want to shoot the cat, because then the savages will be all over her, even though they were all over her.
But I also think that that like compassion for his
because you can see how conflicted he was with it, and he I gotta put him out of his misery because I don't want him to go through this.
And of course, like Kirk Douglas being the masterful actor that he was, like his mimic, the way he played like this situation added so much to it. And actually, I think this is like one of the strongest scenes in the movie, especially like in terms of acting, in terms of cinematography, and the music. Like I said, I totally recommend the soundtrack of this movie.
And then, like I said, that led to Arabella's end, and I was like, she deserved it because she got played, and as brutal as it was, she turned down Denton's help because she like, I'm living lavishly.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to go so far and say that anybody deserves gang rape.
No. See, like I said, the flags were there.
Yeah.
He stayed.
Yeah.
And once Kilgore said, "You mean nothing to me," and he stabbed that photo, she was dead. and he gave her up to them. And again, early on, they just was gawking at her. They were watching her. That right there tells you that soon as he gives the order, they're gonna tear into you.
Death by snoo snoo.
But again, it's like I agree with you. I don't want to say somebody deserves it.
Yeah.
Man, it's just you look at that character and just how much of a waste she was.
Let's just say
I'm just gonna say, like, she had it coming. She set herself up for that.
Let's just say she was the from the way that a hostage, that a prisoner can act, she chose all the wrong choices. Like, if this was a Telltale game, she wouldn't come to chapter 2.
Like I said, if she really didn't want to be a part of that, she should have slit her wrist when Kilgore stabbed that photo, because she was done.
Or run off the cliff or something, like or the best choice she could have done. Well, there's a hero to save me. Well, she should go with the hero.
She turned it down, window closed.
Yeah.
But what happened after that was legendary, because all the pirates had the cannons lined up for any ships that the relief ships or something like that show up. They was practicing on shooting those cannons out into the waters. Denton saw that shit and he was like, "This is my opportunity." They all are on the ship being distracted,
just raping away.
and he was like, "I'm gonna blow them out to hell." And Kilgore left the ship. Like, he left the ship on his own, but he was like, "Let me blow the rest of these fools out, so that's less I gotta worry about."
You guys want to see penetration? I'm gonna penetrate your ship.
And that was epic. Seeing that shit unfold, I was like, "Yeah, finally didn't get some validation over all these savages doing, his captain, his friend Felipe, Mario, and flaying Montefiore." So, blow that ship up. And then
and the effects are fantastic, especially for a 71 movie. Like, the impact on the ship, like the cannon, like, very well done. In general, like, this was like a high budget movie, just flopped terribly. Everything looks amazing in this movie. Like I said, I know why it flopped, because I don't think this is generally a movie that by its pacing and brutality is very attractive to the mainstream. But like, I love adventure movies, and if adventure movies keep like a story so tight and have such fantastic characters in it, like, hell yeah, give it to me.
Yeah. And then, in Denton's mind, all he's got left is Kilgore. But he didn't account for scumbag number 2.
Yeah.
As soon as he popped up with the sword to Denton's neck, I was like, "Fuck, I hope he kills him. I hope he takes him out." And then you get completely blindsided, and Kilgore takes him out.
Because, of course, the Blambeck hunger is also, well, he still wants to get away, and he doesn't want to leave any witnesses behind. And the way that he, like, in cold blood, headshotted his number 2, like, tells you everything that you need about him, which is so interesting, because something we haven't talked about yet, like his servant, when his servant died.
Let's explain.
Mm-hmm.
The servant is the only black person in the film. So when I saw that, when they stormed the island, and I saw that, I was like, "Oh shit, they got a black person in this movie." And then you see that he's a servant. He was the one that cooked the food for Dan to eat and stuff. So he met his untimely demise when Dan and Montefiore got the white horse.
Yeah.
And they was looking to escape. The servant showed up, a lot of guys showed up, he got shot, died, and then they tried to escape on the horse, but then the horse got tripped up and broke his neck, and then they had to put the horse out of his misery. But the servant felt so important to Kilgore. You know, he had him, carried him, and then they gave him a ceremony, you know, for a funeral.
That was like the only time in the whole movie that he has shown human empathy.
And it was very interesting because of how important the servant felt to Kilgore.
Yeah.
Like he don't show no emotion, but you could tell like that death hit him.
Yes, that was like really, and also like so fantastically played by Yul Brynner, like all these emotions like on his face, and that this was like the only death that affected him. When he was like the only character who got like a funeral.
And he had no dialogue.
Exactly,
that's just the servant.
Hey, Al.
What's up, Al?
Well.
But yeah, this character was just a servant, and he didn't really have no dialogue. He didn't really play nothing important to the plot, but his death affected the main villain.
Yeah, and the movie never explains why. And actually, I really like this because it makes you think.
Yeah, like maybe they were, you know, good, because slavery ended around the 1860s in America. I think earlier that in Spain. So again, you don't really see this type of relationship in films. Like he's just a servant. Like, oh, he don't mean nothing. Most movies would show a servant, they get killed. Like, oh well, I can always get another. But this felt important to him, to Kilgore.
Yeah, and especially like I said, the comparison when you see how he killed his number 2 in cold blood, like not a single emotion on his face, just fuck it. And then when he found like his servant dead, and you could really see that almost like it's like now it's more personal.
Yeah.
And like you really like that he like just like you said, just generate like human empathy like in that moment, which is he is lacking in any other scene, makes the character of Conqueror like even more interesting.
Because think about it, you have all these savage pirates that you control, but then your servant is the most humble. He does his thing, he cooks and he serves, and he's feel more human than everybody else.
And he was still very youthful, like I think.
So it really was an interesting choice to add that complexity to Kilgore's character, that he cared about his servant.
Yeah, it's like, and of course you can have several different interpretations why, which can go from nice to perverted. But he never answered this. So that's, I think it's so interesting that, like I say, the character of. I think that the character of Conqueror should actually be like a movie villain that should be more studied, because I think actually this is one of the strongest villain characters out there. And like
go ahead.
Like this is a character that I could totally see like as a pirate villain in the Hyborian age. Like
Yul Brynner is just a fantastic actor. And we still gotta talk the Sabata movies, you know, because he replaced Lee Van Cleef for the second Sabata. Yeah. You know, and he looks the part too. Like,
and I think Kinski is also in the second one.
Yeah, we still gotta talk those 3 films.
I have all Sabata movies here. Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was just the interesting part of the film. Like, it really caught me off guard, thinking that the servant would have such an emotional weight on Kilgore's character that he gave him a funeral service.
Yeah.
And yeah, he killed his number 2. Like, number 2 scumbag, he killed him out of cold blood.
Yeah. And what I also really love about this movie is, especially since it's a lighthouse, since it's like an island with a lot of cliffs, we see a lot of people falling from some parts, and like I mean, it's clearly puppets, but like the way like they behave and the heaviness of them.
I love dummy drops though, man.
Yeah, but like this, I think this movie has some of the best dummy drops. Like you can really feel the impact, and I also love like that the camera like stays on them, like
you hear the thud.
Yeah,
I love dummy drops though. It's a missed trope in movies nowadays.
And especially like Conger's demise.
Now here's the thing, like I was disappointed with number 2's, the scumbag number 2's death, because I wanted Denton to kill him. I was surprised that they elected the whole, one on middle, one on the top. They throwing stuff at each other, and then Kilgore dies at his own hand because he's the one that threw all the liquid of flammable liquid, burnt the place, and then next you know, the fire gets out of hand, catches on to him, and then he tumbles over and falls to his doom. Which is completely unconventional when it comes to movies that has finales, because you're thinking the hero's going to conquer the day and have a struggle against him. But we really don't see a physical struggle. It's more of who can outlast this.
Yeah, absolutely. And but what I still love is that like you would have loved to have another death for Virgilio for the sadistic number 2, but I think that when he gets headshotted, his last surprised look is priceless.
He couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's like, well, that's the thing. It's like in order to believe, you need a functional brain.
And that he definitely didn't have a functional brain.
Nah,
that's why I said, like, Kilgore, as sadistic and crazy as he is, he's the more rational when it comes to the mind.
Yeah.
He knows how to plan attacks and how to set things up. Whereas the rest of them, they don't have that type of mindset.
Yeah. It's also can be, you can also see it like that he also was the architect of his own demise. With a lot of characters, like in a lot of movies, they build up a villain, and then it's unrealistic for the protagonist to overcome the villain. Where here I think that everything is very realistic. Like, okay, I can see that happening, like going out like that, and I still think that despite like Kyoga. That he was ultimately, like I said, the architect of his own demise. I was not disappointed because like his flaming death drop was just so epic.
Yeah, I thought it was different, and I did like the struggle between the two in terms of them trying to get the upper hand on how they gonna get to each other, and then when, like I said, Kilgore dying off the fire that he started, it's like poetic justice there.
Yeah,
you started the fire, you end by the fire, and you fall off.
And at this moment, he finally got what he was looking for: being alone on an island.
After all the chaos.
Okay.
After all the brutality, all the murders, he got to be alone. And then the relief ship finally showed up.
Yeah.
But, a flaming lighthouse, all burnt to rubble. Like I said, I enjoyed the film. The only part was Arabella's character. Like, I felt like that kind of stretched the movie out to its over 2-hour runtime, and it could have been trimmed down had her character not exist.
Could be. I totally agree with that. And for me, this movie it has such an movie night or even like a Sunday movie afternoon vibe. I love adventure movies like that. And
Yeah.
I personally, I really enjoy like the pacing, man survival. And I think that the way this movie approaches it is so different to other adventure movies. Like, so it's actually very, very tough to put this into a genre because, the way that the pirates act and everything, it totally has like some horror vibes in there. And so it's such an interesting adventure genre mix that there are not a lot of movies that are close to it. So it's such a unique movie.
And I really feel like the whole aspect of just trying to survive is what the theme for me is watching this film.
Yeah.
It's like being on an island full of savages and you're just, trying to figure out how you're gonna get through this whole nightmare. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie outside of my criticism of that one character, but overall, it's a solid movie for me.
Exactly, and I really think it's a very underrated movie that actually should be more known. Not only because the name Jules Verne is on it, and but also of course like Yul Brynner, Kirk Douglas in a movie this heavy, like heavy in brutality. It's very interesting, and I think it really also shows that I think it's mainly like a European production.
Yeah, Spanish American.
Yeah, and even fucking Liechtenstein, that's one of the smallest countries in the world where you walk 20 minutes and you're out of the country. It's like between Austria and Switzerland. It's like you won't find it on a map when you look at a map. To say that. So yeah, it also shows, of course, from the actors. So they have so many different actors from different parts of the world, and very well cast, soundtrack amazing. It really is like I highly recommend everybody to watch this movie. And if you like comics, this was in a time when comics were actually not that good. A lot of them were actually really shit. This was actually one of the only series that I read, and it was like, wow, that really adds something to this is actually really something that people should read, especially like the art and the way they adapted the novel. And I think that who wrote it, that David Hine, I think he was more inspired actually by the movie than the novel, because you see a lot of aesthetic choices that very much resemble the movie.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, that great discussion. I enjoyed talking this film, and like I said, it was a good movie to me.
Yeah. Next week we are sadly busy, so no show next week, but the week after that, and it already arrived. Ninja Scroll.
Yes, I'm looking forward to discussing this. It's been a while since I watched it, but I watched that movie nonstop ad audience.
I watched it the last time when I was 14 or 15, so it's gonna be very interesting.
It's a part of my teenage years, with this and Dragon Ball Z and what's the other one? Vampire Hunter D, all that stuff. That's the anime I grew up watching and loving.
Urotsuko Dochi. Legend of the Overfiend.
There was just so much good stuff. And I think there's a Comic Call Crew episode tomorrow. So first episode of the year that we're gonna do live. I'll see if I can make it, because I've been coming in late on the Saturday, but I'll try and hop on if I can. And other than that, we're heading into the weekend. First full week of the new year completed. So
what a year it has been.
and first of all, I just want to say my heart goes out to the people that's in Los Angeles and California. Those wildfires is crazy.
Yeah, that looked.
You know, just from the images I saw and all the people that lost their homes to the fires, just it's not off to a good start for the new year with something like that happening.
Yeah, I already wrote Chennai, but she was well, because she's actually like she can see the shit from her home. But yeah, it really it. I've also seen some aftermath video that Ralph Möller did on his Instagram when he was there, and it looked like it looked like a fucking dystopian post-apocalyptic landscape.
It does not look good.
Does not look
Like I
good.
said, prayers to all those who made it out and stuff. Because like I said, it sucks losing a home, but it's important that you're alive. You know,
Yeah,
because there are people that died throughout that, and
exactly. Things are cool, but things can be replaced.
yeah. So other than that, we'll be back in 2 weeks talking Ninja Scroll. And by the way, I sent you the list of movies for Black History Month.
Yeah, I still have to still check out like where I can find what. If I could add one movie, I would actually, we can also do this maybe like afterwards, because
Yeah, it don't matter because there was a bunch of movies that I
yeah,
could have.
I really wanted to discuss Cobra Verde with you.
Is that the Black Cobra?
No, it's like Werner Herzog, and with Klaus Kinski, and the topic is about the slave trade. And it's a very heavy movie. Maybe it's by Werner Herzog.
Well, I'll see. You know, just send me the name of it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll pop on in and see what it's about.
Mm.
But yeah, there were so many movies that I thought about, and I was like, man, we got a whole year. It don't matter. Yeah. We could cover these movies in February and then still talk about other movies.
Exactly. Like I say, it's not like we just need to put everything in a month, because there's all fantastic movie and we can talk. It's like it's our show. We can talk about what we want when we want.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, this is your boy Sean. BV, we are signing off. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care.